Welcome everybody. Let's go back to last year and pick out some of our favorite projects to inspire us for this spring and Easter season. I thrifted these little rabbits last year or year before and only paid a couple of dollars for them. This one right here, I think maybe I got at a yard sale. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to turn mine into some pretty gold rabbits. And this is such an easy process to do. You just use whatever gold wax you have. I'm using this gilding wax and I'll make sure to link it down below. It worked the best for me on these silver rabbits. You can also use rub and buff, but the rub and buff that I had was not the color gold that I wanted for these rabbits. And I'm going to show you right here. This is antique gold. So I did want to try it out just to see what color gold I like the best. And I'm going to put the two up together and let you see, the difference in the two golds. You may like the rub and buff gold, but today I'm going for more of that gilded wax look. So like I say, I'll make sure to link it down below and you get a whole little can of it, so it goes a long way. Now I'm going to show y'all a piece that I'm going to transform for spring. Y'all, I love swans. I got this. This will be in my Amazon store, but I ordered 2 swan. These are like laminated canvases. They come in a tube, so they're rolled up, and all you have to do is roll them out. I took it outside and I sprayed the back of the frame with that Gorilla spray adhesive. I brought it back inside and I just rubbed it down really well with the brayer just to make sure I flattened it out really well and it's adhered to the frame background surface really well. Once that dries, just go around with your scissors and now cut away any excess of that canvas and put it back in your frame. Now I ordered the same swan, but I got a different size. This size right here is going to be an 8x10, so it is going to fit perfect in an 8x10 frame. All I'm going to do to this one is I'm just going to put it in a frame that I already have, put the back on the frame, tape it up, put the back on it really well, and this one will be ready to hang up. These swans right here will be so pretty setting out for your spring and summer decor. You can put this on open shelving. You can hang these on the wall. Just a beautiful vintage French country style print that was so easy to use and create something beautiful with some frames that I already had. And also these are very budget friendly. Now here is a very trendy type print that I've seen all over the place on social media, sold at Target, but I'm going to make my own. I purchased this chalkboard frame at Hobby Lobby. It was $8.99 and I think I got it on half off day. So for $4.50, that is a really good deal. I went out to Etsy and I printed out or purchased this printable download that you just print out. And I just always print these on a very inexpensive inkjet printer. But I just use regular copy paper. But I'm just using my straight cutter and I'm just going to cut off the excess paper, then cut it down to size to fit inside that frame. I don't want to damage the frame because I may want to use the chalkboard front at some point. So I'm going to make this very easy to where I can remove it. But for now, I want to put these pairs in there. So now I'm just scoring along the top and the bottom. Now that I've got the sides to fit, and then I just scored those with my fingernails, and then I just went in with my straight cutter and cut off the top and the bottom. Now to put this on so I don't damage my frame, I'm just going to use some two-sided tape. I'm just going to put a couple of strips on the sides and that'll secure it in. The bottom went down up under the frame and that little backboard, so that stayed in place. I didn't have to put any tape down at the bottom. Now this made a beautiful piece again that I can set out on my open shelving or throughout my home for the spring and the summertime, and I think this is also a piece that you could leave out all year long. Found a frame that I already had and I've already put a project piece in it and I'd already painted it. I think it was wood color at one time and I'd already painted it white and distressed it. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I took out the piece of poster board that was already cut down to size for the previous project that I had in it, and I'm just going to apply this bunny decoupage sheet to it, and I'm just using DIY liquid patina, but like I always tell y'all, you can always use Mod Podge also. And I just work in sections. I apply one section, give it a good coat of the DIY liquid patina, lather it down really well. I do the top and I also do the bottom. Make sure you get your sheet laid out really flat. Then I roll over it with my brayer really well. Now I'm going to show y'all some very affordable downloads that I purchased off of Etsy. Etsy is one of my favorite places to go out for the seasons and get some beautiful wall decor. You purchase the downloads, they send them to your email, and you can print them out as many times as you want to. And a lot of these come in different sizes. I absolutely love this rabbit. And I purchased this frame. I scored this at Goodwill for 99 cents. I love the color of the frame. I love the mat. And I think this bunny is going to fit perfect inside this frame. So all I'm going to do to it is I'm going to line it up in the mat. And then I'm just going to use some tape it onto the back. And this project will be done. I'm just showing y'all ways of how you can make some beautiful, affordable wall art or something, you know, some beautiful pictures that you can put on your open shelving that don't have to cost a lot of money. You can make them yourself, and they're a lot of fun to create. Now I'm going to show y'all some wood frames that I have. I have 2 of these frames just alike, and I've had them for years. And that's the thing I love about frames. They're a very versatile decor item that you can just change out your graphics for the seasons. I went out to Etsy and I shopped around for several bunnies that I absolutely loved. I selected the ones I wanted, I purchased them, and they sent them to my email, and I printed them out. I just cut them down to size to fit my assorted frames that I have, and I just I'm just changing out. Some of this is Christmas graphics. So here's the matching frame. I'm going to take the Christmas out. And I also want to show y'all that you can buy these canvases at Dollar Tree. These make great backings for 8x10 frame. Sometimes when you find a frame at the thrift store or yard sale, it won't have the glass or the back to it. You will just have the frame. So sometimes if you need a back, pick those up from Dollar Tree, and they make good backs for your frames. I love this little bunny graphic right here. It was one of my favorites. I hope you'll go out to Etsy and shop around for some of these bunny prints because they have a huge selection. I'm just going to put these little bunnies back in the frame, put the back on it, and now we've got another beautiful bunny wall art piece that we can set out for springtime. Now I'm going to show you some beautiful graphics that I got in a package from Amazon. I will have these linked in my Amazon store. You get several sizes. This is more of a postcard size, so this is probably like a 4x6, and you also get several that are 5x7s. These right here are more of the French country style, which I really love. They give you different colors, so if you want more of a springtime look, they have those. If you like the moody, that one right there was more of a neutral. Look at the moody ones. I absolutely love these, and I can't wait to put these in some frames, style these for you, and give you different ideas of how you can display these and frame these and set these around your home. We're going to get started with these straw bunny heads. I purchased these from Michael's a few years ago, and I've used them like this for several years. I want to give these a little refresh and just put a new touch onto these. All I'm going to do to this one is remove that bow, and I'm going to add one of these beautiful bows that I got from Walmart. These are those beautiful velvet pre-tied bows, and you get 6 on a package. I'm just going to use a little hot glue and just change out its bow, and it'll make a huge difference when we go to style it for spring. I have another one. This one has one of its eyes missing. So I'm going to get a little bit creative with this one and give you a little bit of ideas. If you have some of these little bunny heads, of some ways of how you can get creative and make them your own. To make my bunny some new eyes, I'm going to take this vintage earring. It's got some beautiful pearls and some gold caps on it. I'm going to glue in the little gold caps on in each eye, and then I will put in the pearls. Then I'm going to take the little nose out, and when I took the nose out, I did pull out a little bit of the straw that was attached to its nose, so I did go in and reapply it with a little bit of hot glue and put it back in. I'm just going to put another pearl in for the nose. I'm going to add a beautiful bow to this one, but I'm going to put her bow at the top of her head. Just giving you a little bit more ideas of where you can put the bow. So I'm just going to place it between her ears using a little bit of hot glue. And now we have just refreshed our little bunnies, and they're going to be so cute, styled in some beautiful spring florals. The next 2 bunnies are a couple that I found at the Target Bullseye area for $3 each. I love the little bunnies, but I'm not a real big fan of the iridescent color to them. So I'm going to take them outside, and I'm going to give them a couple of layers of some clear matte spray. Once the clear matte spray was dry, I brought them back inside. Putting the matte spray on them will just help this wax adhere to these little bunnies a lot easier since they have such a slick ceramic surface. I always try to use some gloves when I'm using wax because wax can get on your hands and it's kind of hard to wash off. I used a rag at first, and then I just started applying the wax with my finger. The wax I use is by Dixie Belle, and it's gilding wax in the color gold. You could also use rub and buff on these, and you could also go over these with some dark or some white wax. In my Easter folder of things that I already had printed out from previous years were these cute little Easter tags. I either got these off the Graphics Fairy or I probably purchased them off of Etsy. But the Graphics Fairy has a lot of beautiful free printables, so always make sure to go out and check out their website for some hang tag ideas. I did cut down some of the excess paper from around the hang tags, but I did leave them in sheet form. I feel like this is easier when you're making hang tags to apply the whole sheet to your poster board and then cut around each one with your scissors very carefully. Then I roll over them really good with my brayer once more just to make sure all of my edges are sealed really well. Once I got all 3 of my hang tags cut out, now I'm going to take a sanding block and I'm just going to go around each one. I want to make sure that when I cut them down to size that I don't have any sharp edges, of paper, that they look really rounded, and it also gave them more of a distressed look around the edges. Now I'm going to take a hole punch and I'm just going to punch through the holes at the top. I'm going to add some pretty vintage ribbon to them, and these will make great embellishments and just some styling details to your spring vignettes, and you can also add these as some beautiful embellishments to your Easter baskets. I'm going to take a folder of some graphics that I have either purchased on Etsy or I have downloaded off of the Graphics Fairy. A lot of times when I see things that I love, I'll go on and print them out and I'll keep them in a folder. I've got a package of these egg wood blanks, and I also have some bunnies. You can get these at the dollar store. A lot of times Dollar Tree and Dollar General carry these. They'll be $1 or $1.25. You get several in a package, and you also get the twine hangers. So I'm going to show you some ways and techniques today of how we can really embellish these simple and affordable wood blanks and make some really pretty embellishments with these. Using glue stick, just use a good quality glue stick and take some graphics that you may already have printed out, and if not, you can always go out to the Graphics Fairy. They have a lot of free downloads, and also you can purchase some really pretty ones very affordable on Etsy. These right here I purchased on Etsy, and I've had them for, maybe a year or two. And like I say, when I purchase them, a lot of times I'll go on and print them out, and if I don't use them right then, I just put them in my folder. So I'm just using a good quality glue stick. I'm just gluing them onto these eggs. I roll over them really well with my brayer to make sure they adhere to the eggs really well. So once you get everything applied, you can then go around with your sanding block and just go around now and remove any of the excess paper and smooth off your edges. Once you do that, then I just went around, punched back through the holes that was in the eggs, and then I just put those little twine hangers back in. But you could also use some assorted ribbon or lace or anything that you want to make a hanger out of it. I think these turned out so cute. And like I've told y'all, you can make these and embellish your Easter baskets with them. You could hang these on a little, Easter tree. You could hang them from some garland or a wreath. So now let's take some of the bunnies, and we're going to do the same techniques on some of these, but I'm also going to show y'all how you can take some transfers. And so we'll do I'm going to do some inlays on these bunnies. So we're going to do some new techniques on these. But take whatever little wood blanks you have. I do know that Dollar Tree carries some little wood chicks. So I think the little chicks would be cute also. But I'm just doing the same thing on these. These right here are a little bit more detailed to work on because these little bunnies had more intricate cuts on them and, were a little bit more detailed than the round eggs. But they were still fun projects to work on, and you just kind of have to go around and sand a little bit more carefully. Some of your graphics, if they don't fit exactly on these bunnies, just kind of piece in pieces of, in those areas. Just piece in your graphic where you need to. Now, this is a sheet of transfers that I've got linked in my Amazon store. These are some of my favorite ones. It's got some, French script on it, also with some beautiful pink roses. So I'm just going to capture that. I'm not even going to paint my bunny. You could always paint your bunny if you want to and add the transfer on top of your paint, but I'm just going to leave the bunny natural, just showing you how easy it is to apply these different techniques. Now this sheet of graphics right here I got off the Graphics Fairy, and I love the black and the white. So just giving you more ideas of different colors of graphics that you can use on these bunnies. Don't be afraid. Use whatever colors that you love. So I think these black graphics right here will be perfect on these little bunnies. So I'm going to apply a couple of the bunnies using these little black labels, and I'll show you how cute these turn out. Now these were not, the exact size of the bunny, but again, that's a very easy fix. Just cut a piece of the black paper and just fill in those areas, and you'll never know you've made the repair. Once I got the graphics applied to these, using my glue stick again, I'll just go around, and you can always go around with your scissors, cut away as much of the excess paper on these little bunnies, and kind of notch out those little intricate areas, and then go around and sand around the edges and remove the rest of the excess paper, and it makes it a lot easier. I want to show you another beautiful Etsy printable that I purchased that was in my folder. There is 2 areas on this sheet that I think will be beautiful for this little rabbit. I want to capture this piece down at the bottom, so I'm just taking my ruler and I'm just going to rip it. Instead of trying to cut it straight, I'm just going to rip it and give it more of a torn look. I do not want that border on the paper to show, so I'm just going to trim all that off. This piece I'll put at the bottom, and then I'm going to put the other part of that sheet that I really like, that graphics at the top. I'm going to apply that to the top of the bunny. This is a great way to use up, just bits and pieces of a graphic if you can't fit the whole sheet onto your project. I think this turned out really pretty, and like I say, I just captured a couple of areas on this sheet that was really pretty, and I just, put them on the bunny, applied them, rolled over my brayer, and then I'll go around, remove the excess paper. And I'll show you when I style everything at the end of the video how I tied a beautiful bow around its neck. Now I'm going to show you how perfect these little wood blanks are for paint inlays. And I don't know if you've ever used a paint inlay before, but they're not hard to use at all. It takes a little bit of practice, but they're so much fun, and there's something different to do to make your project, just really go to the next level. Iron Orchid Design always has a really nice selection of paint inlays. So make sure to go out and check them out because they have several different packages of paint inlays that are beautiful. But the first thing you want to do is you want to apply a layer of chalk paint. Let that one dry and then add another layer and let that one stay wet. Turn your paint inlay down to where you have your paint side that will lay down into that wet paint. You want to lay it down really well, and then you want to spritz it with some water, not a lot. Dab it off with a paper towel, let it dry. Before you peel back your paper, you do want to spray another light mist of water over the paper so it will peel up easy. Then peel your paper off. You will be left with a beautiful paint inlay design in your paint. The results from paint inlays are absolutely amazing. So now I'm going to take one of these DIY project pieces that I found at Goodwill. These were $1.99 each, and I got 2 of them. They have a chalkboard front, so I use some sandpaper just to kind of go over them, just to kind of smooth out any of that scratching and roughness that they had on them. I'm going to use a floral transfer on this one. I had some floral transfer scraps that I had left over from previous seasons, and I always like to use my transfers up as soon as I can so they don't get damaged. So I went over it with the sandpaper really well, kind of smoothed it out so it doesn't look like, it was as beat up as it was. I'm going to leave the twine hanger in it, but I just cut around this floral, and I got the section of what I wanted to apply on this black chalkboard plaque. I'm going to apply my transfer, and look how beautiful these florals look on this black background. I'm going to do the same thing to the second one. I have another beautiful floral transfer. I'll just cut away the excess, and then just what fits onto this, I'm going to apply it, and then we'll have two beautiful pieces that we can set out for spring and summertime. Here's another little mini blackboard project piece. I got this at Goodwill and it was 99 cents. I'm going to do the same thing on it. I'm just going to go over it lightly with my sanding block just to smooth it out and make it look a little bit better. Anytime you have a chalkboard or blackboard piece like this, if you get a sanding board and go over it, you'll kind of smooth it out and make it look a lot better. It just kind of gives it a refreshed look. Now this little floral right here fit really well. I had a whole sheet of just some smaller florals that I had left over from a transfer package. These are from the Iron Orchid design, I think last year's spring collection. But I thought they were absolutely beautiful and it fit perfect in that little chalkboard frame. Now I went to Hobby Lobby one day and they always have clearance sections. So I got back on this clearance section and this oval plaque right here was $2.24. Great, budget-friendly DIY project piece. So I picked up the oval one and I also got the little rectangle one. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick out some beautiful floral transfers that I have, and I'm just going to cut them down to size and apply them each to these ceramic plaques that I got at Hobby Lobby in the clearance section. So just giving you ideas of when you are at the craft store, if you see these make beautiful project pieces to make some beautiful floral wall decor pieces for spring and summer. Once you get your florals applied, then you can go in if you have any kind of script writing on any of your transfers. And on these floral transfers, they came with a lot of script writing, and I think a lot of it is probably French or Latin, and it's, different types of roses, I'm sure. So I'm just going to apply some of those, and you can put these in any area of your plaque that you want to. I did this one in the center, and I think it just added such a great detail to it. Now I'm going to take this little rectangle one, and I think this yellow is just really going to pop with this green on this beautiful white. Now I'm going to take a piece of scrap wood that I've had in my supplies, and I just made a clay mold bunny. Now this is a bunny mold that Iron Orchid design had out a few years ago, and I have used him so much. But I just took some air dry clay and molded out my bunny, and I glued him down to this little scrap piece of wood. Just showing y'all more ideas of little easy pieces that you can make to style on a spring or summer tray. So I just went around with my candle. I went around and gave the edges a good lather of that wax candle. And that way, when you go back to distress it, it will scrape the paint off in those areas and give it a really chippy, distressed look. I painted over it with a couple layers of some white chalk paint. And then also, I went around with my sanding block, my little finger sander, and I just went around and just distressed it, really well. And then I'm going to take a baby wipe, just go around and wipe off all of that excess dust from that sanding paper. And then once you get it done, I've got these labels, and I featured these in a previous video. I think I purchased these. I think I downloaded these from the Graphics Fairy, and these are free printables. So I love the black and the white, and I already have these printed out. So I'm just going to take a paintbrush. I dipped it in water. I went around the paper, got it moist and wet, and then I'm just going to go around with my fingers, and I'm just going to rip around a little area of this wording, and I'm going to try to capture some of the wording, and now I'm going to put that down at the bottom of my rabbit. We're kind of making a little shabby chic scrap wood bunny piece that we can style on a tray. So I'm just going around, I rip it down to where it will fit the best up under the bunny, because I don't want it too big. Once I get it ripped down to the correct size, then I'm just going to take a good quality glue stick and I'm going to apply it down there to the bottom. You could also use Mod Podge if you want to, but since this is just printer paper, the little glue stick will do just fine. I roll over it really well with the brayer just to make sure it's pressed down really good, and then I go over it again with the finger sander, just stress it and give it more of a worn look. I'm also going to rip a little piece of these little labels, and I'm going to put one at the top. I'm just going to do the same technique, and then this little bunny will be done. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I absolutely love bunnies, and I have a lot of bunnies in my yard through the springtime and the summer. So I'm going to do some more bunny projects because I think bunnies are so spring, and I love bunnies pretty much all year long. But I'm going to take this little project piece. This was a little wood frame piece that I picked up at the thrift store for 99 cents. I just went over and painted the white, painted over that wording that's inside the frame with some white chalk paint so it wouldn't show through. I've got this little graphic right here, I think come from the Graphics Fairy that I had printed out, and I'm just going to start cutting it down to size. Now I just go in and I just start out just making small cuts at first, and then I just keep going in the frame. I'll score it with my fingers, and then I'll go across with my ruler, make sure my line is straight, but you could also use your straight cutter. My straight cutter sometimes will cut good, then sometimes it will rip my paper. So sometimes if it's small like this, I just soon use my scissors. So I'm just going to continue to cut it down, try to cut it as straight as I can, and get it to fit down in this frame. Then using my glue stick, I secured it inside the frame. Now I'm going to show y'all another really pretty project, and this is very easy and affordable to make. I purchased these downloads. These are rabbit flashcards, and I got them from a Etsy shop called Old Maple Home. She also has a YouTube channel that has a lot of great ideas and inspiration. So I think it's called Elizabeth's Old Maple Home. So y'all make sure to go over and follow her on YouTube also. So I just went to her Etsy shop, purchased these little rabbit flashcards, and I am just using my school glue stick again, and I just went over the back of the tags, and then I just secured them onto a piece of, this is just the back of an OD transfer book. This is just the back of it. It's just equivalent to a piece of poster board, but it was in my trash. So instead of throwing it away, I'm going to use this for the backer board for these flashcards. Using my glue stick, I just applied each one, cut around the excess paper, and now we got some vintage, beautiful flashcards. I love bunnies, and I decorate with bunnies all year long. I have this piece of decoupage paper, and I found this little wood crate at Goodwill. So I'm just going to add a little bit of detail to one side of it. So I'm going to use this bunny right here, and I'm going to cut it down to size using my scissors. I'm not going to go all the way out to the ends. I'm going to leave some of the wood trim on the ends and just put the bunny in the middle. Using my fingers, I'm just going to score along the top and the bottom. And once I got it cut down to size, I'm going to get my glue stick, apply a liberal amount, and apply the paper. I'm going to rub it down really well with my hands first, then I'll go over it and roll over it with my brayer. Once I get it adhered really well to the front of the crate, I'm going to go around my finger sander along the top and the bottom, and I'm also going to go around the edges and just gently go around with a finger sander, just removing that excess paper and giving it more of a little rustic look around the edges. Once I do that, we've got now a beautiful crate that we can add a ribbon and some beautiful florals to, and I think this turned out so cute, and it added such a great detail to a little wooden crate that I got at the thrift store. Now I'm going to take some of these little paper mache pots I got at Hobby Lobby. They were $1.99 each. And I'm going to take these little bunnies that were left over from that large decoupage sheet. I'm going to go around with my scissors and carefully cut three of these bunnies out. I'm going to apply these to the front of the pots using my glue stick. These right here, you go around and just cut them out with your scissors. Let your scissors do the work. Just start cutting around and very carefully cut around. Get your bunny cut out really well, and then just using your glue stick, apply some to the pot and also to the paper. Apply them down with your fingers really well and let these dry. Once these are dry, now you can go over these with some white wax. You can leave these the original color. I did one for you using some dark wax just so you can see what it looks like if I distress the pot, and then I left a couple of them the natural color. Once I style them, you'll see the difference in the one that I waxed and the ones that I left, original color. So there's so many options for these little paper mache pots. This is the one that I put the dark wax on, and I also put some clear white wax on the top of that. So you can just see the difference. So if you want to distress your little pots, the wax works great. I have some little Dollar Tree frames in my supplies, so I'm going to take this sheet of bunnies. These are the perfect size for a 4x6 frame. I'm going to cut one of these out, and it was hard to decide which one I wanted to use. These little frames right here are at Dollar Tree, and they are in black, and they also have them in white. I thought this bunny right here would be really pretty in this little black frame, and you really don't have to do anything to these frames if you don't want to. I hope y'all enjoyed seeing all these fun spring and Easter projects. I know I enjoyed looking back from what I made last year, because a lot of times I forget from year to year the decorations and the projects that I work on. This was just a very short recap of some of the videos that I put out last Easter and spring. So if you want to see the full videos and see a lot more projects and decorating, I'll make sure to leave my spring and Easter playlist down below. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Until next week, I hope all of y'all have a blessed week, and I'll see all of y'all again real soon. Bye, y'all.